Uh, Good afternoon. Welcome to the TIE's session today. Most of you may be knowing, for those who doesn't know, TIE was started in 1992 at the Silicon Valley. The aim of TIE is to foster entrepreneurship. It's a non-profit organization. TiEcon Kerala chartered in 2003. The people who started TiEcon Kerala were GM Menon of US Technology, G. Vijayaraghavan, Arun Kumar, G. Vijayaraghavan, former CEO of Technopark. Then Arun Kumar, who was then the KPMG managing partner, and a group of another 10 people altogether. We came in the second tranche, something like next 10 people. Currently, we have close to 100, exactly 95 charter members, and more than 300 members. Our social media attraction is close to 20,000. We do a lot of programs, which I think it will be appropriate Mr. Jacob Joy, the current president of TiE, explains. Over a period, we have been acknowledged as the world's best chapter 1 year, world's best executive director another year. And some of the programs, like we do a lot of programs with students, university students and college school students. The school students program won the world's best program 1 year. This session actually is leading to the TiEcon, which is a major event every year, which every TiE chapter worldwide does. TiE has around 65 chapters worldwide. So this is leading to the TiEcon. We are having 3 sessions, 1 year, another one at Cochin on a different subject, another one at Calicut. Building world, this is towards Vision 2030, which is the theme which we are progressing. Building a world-class R&D ecosystem is the today's session. We have a eminent panel to take this forward here. Before that, let me welcome Jacob Joy, who is the president of TiEcon Kerala. Jacob is we call him chocolatier. His company manufactures not the ordinary chocolates, very apparent, so that I can't afford to buy that. Occasionally, Joy gives something for some programs, but a very high-end brand. 3rd generation entrepreneur. Welcome, Joy. Let me introduce the panel to you. The session are being moderated by BALRAM Shankaran, who heads the Srichitra's TIMed incubator here in Trivandrum. Quite a well-known person in this R&D and commercialization area. I was lucky to be, or even continuing to be, one of the advisory panels there. So I know how BALRAM works. And the incubated companies, I would say, some of them have got very high private equity investments. And recently, I think you have exited one of the investments at a very high profit. And you may be knowing that one of the best companies in Trivandrum, Thermopenpol, was initially incubated with the Srichitra. Welcome, BALRAM. The other panelists are Dr. Bipin Nair. He is the professor and dean of the Amrita School of Biotechnology. With extensive background in molecular biology and biomedical research, he has contributed significantly to the scientific community. Welcome, Dr. Bipin Nair. Next is Jijimon Chandran. We call it the hidden gem in Trivandrum. Because this company is known only a few years now. But if you are driving any upper-end car like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, or Audi, the entire dashboard system software is supplied by Jijimon's company from Trivandrum worldwide. I would say he is one of the automotive software and IoT system evolving ecosystem in Trivandrum. It all started, mostly it was known because Nissan came here. But it's a lot of other companies in the same category are coming. Jijimon is also active with the CIA. Welcome, Jijimon. Next, I would like to welcome Pius Varughese. Pius is on the electronic product design manufacturing. So one is in the software, the other one is in the products. This is also one company which have come to light only very recently. Very public shy. That's what because I know most of the Technopa companies, but recently only I came across this company. Currently, he serves as the Chief Operating Officer of Vinvish Technologies. He has an interest in other companies also. Welcome, Pius, to this. Next is Dr. Sarika A R. Sarika is a scientist with the Kerala Biotechnology Commission, where she plays a pivotal role in advancing biotechnology initiatives. So she is in the panel, I believe she comes as ecosystem enabler. Welcome. Thank you. I have also Dr. Praveen Murlidharan. He is head of R&D, medical superintendent, senior consultant nephrologist at KIMSHEALTH, a respected physician with decades of experience. Welcome, doctor. So in short, the panel has BALRAM, the person who moderates, is the person who has seen incubation, commercialization, and even funding and exit. And we have two companies which have grown all throughout organically. And I think Jijimon's company is marching towards 1,000 people. 600, 700 people now. And you have taken space for another 1,000 people. So two companies which are emerging. One is in the software and the other one is in the electronic product manufacturing. And then one ecosystem enabler and regulator. And then there is an academic person. I think this is very befitting panel for today's discussion. I think I have not left anybody. Welcome you all to the panel discussion. Thank you.
Such a joy to see a crowd in the afternoon. I hope you've all had lunch. I hope you're all ready to now provide nutrition to your brains because we've already filled our stomachs, I guess. Hearty welcome to the panelists and to all of you here. I'm Jacob. I'm the president of TiEcon Kerala for this year. And I'll just take you through TiE, what we do. For those of you who do not know what TiE is basically the Indus entrepreneurs established to actually promote and foster entrepreneurship. So that's the single objective that we have. And what we try to do is we actually try to foster entrepreneurship right from schools till the startup phase. So we have something called the TiE Young Entrepreneurs, where we go to schools and we engage and encourage children to come up with ideas and have pitching competitions with them. And they are eligible to actually take part in the global competition. To give you a perspective, 2 years ago, a government school from Cochin actually won the global finals. So that is the kind of exposure we are trying to give to children, because we believe that unless you inculcate this in a child, there's no point in talking to them once they've already set their minds. So can you set up an entrepreneurial mindset and also cultivate value systems within them so that by the time they reach that age of getting into entrepreneurship, we've already instilled the right things in them. In school, so we do TYE. At the college level, we are doing TiE University. Again, very similar to what we do with TYE. But at TiE University, it's the college students we are working with. And to all these students, so for example, when we get a pitching competition at the schools for a particular area, our members actually go and mentor these students to come up with the right business model and the way to present these ideas also. So that is the second part. So we do TiE University. We have Capital Cafe. So Capital Cafe is actually a nurturing arm of TiE to finance, to fund. So I'm just giving you the, Capital Cafe actually listens to companies which have just started or at the idea stage and actually mentor them to get to the next stage. We have a mentoring institute, which is also to mentor startups and probably those who have ideas regarding companies in the right way. Because our charter members are from all spheres of business and life, we have the knowledge within ourselves to actually promote and give you that mentorship. So we have a mentor institute which will help you with that. And then we have CAN, which is the angel network, which is actually investing into companies to give them that first leap into the next big idea that they have or the next stage they're going. So that is one whole set of regarding companies. We're also working with women in TiE Women and engaging with women to promote and inculcate entrepreneurship in women and also giving them mentors and other help, because sometimes what we understand is women are a little, it's changed a lot now, but you don't see them coming out too often to get those ideas, and they're not probably some of them not confident enough. I shouldn't be saying it, but that's the way it is. So can we kind of give them the right ingredients or nutrition so that they would develop and create the next big companies? So we are also tied up with KSUM. So we actually go and talk to startups there. So this is the complete ecosystem that we're talking about. A couple of years ago, while we were sitting and discussing where TiE should go in relation to where Kerala is going, we realized that Kerala is very different from every other state in India in terms of our aging population, in terms of our knowledge, in terms of what we want. And therefore, we started a project called Project Diya. And under Project Diya is where we said, let us focus on a few areas, and in those areas, can we transform Kerala and make Kerala the hub for these things? So in that, we identified R&D as one of the verticals we need to move to. We identified assisted living and technology. We identified health and wellness, and agriculture. Agriculture in the sense, tech in agriculture, because we do not have the manpower, we do not have the land banks, but within the limited resources, how well can we increase throughput of agriculture? And as a horizontal across them, we said education is very important, because education is what is going to provide the vertical, the knowledge base into all four of these. So we identified these five, and what we did last year for TiEcon is we had a whole day devoted to panel discussions of each of these verticals. And we had white papers after that, and we're trying to work on that. So this year now, as a lead up to TiEcon, we're having a visioning exercise. The visioning exercise actually in each of these verticals. So we're having the R&D vertical here today. We will have the assisted living. We will have the education, etc. And the outcomes of each of these visioning exercises will be discussed during TiEcon, and a white paper presented, an actionable white paper. So which will be measurable and say what have we done over the last year compared to this year, so that we've actioned something which is promoting the entrepreneurship in these fields. So this is just giving you a nutshell. I didn't want to run into the panelist time, so I've been running across what we do. So this is in a nutshell what we do. For those of you interested, TiEcon is happening on the 4th and 5th of December at the Hyatt. As I said, we are focusing on these sectors, but we're also focusing on everything else from AI to tech. So all the current buzzwords would be spoken about. We have great speakers coming in. So those of you who would like to come and listen to and network, so probably 1,500 people there. So if you would like to come and network, talk to members, or probably throw out your idea if you have one, or just get your next big idea for your next big thing that you want to do. I think this would be the perfect venue for all of you to come. So I welcome each of you to TiEcon at Hyatt on December 5th, 4th and 5th. With that, thank you so much for being here. And I think we will move on to the panel. I think all of you are here for the panel discussion. Thank you for the time.
Nair, Mr. Jijimon Chandran, Mr. Pius Varughese, Dr. Sarika.
TiE for giving us this opportunity to be part of this visioning exercise. And personally, I see a lot of familiar faces on the dais and also in the audience. I think it's a very mixed crowd. We have investors, we have scientists, entrepreneurs, wannabe startup founders. A perfect setting, because you never know when you get into a gathering like this where conversations can take you, sometimes to very unbelievable proportions. So I'm just, I recall something which happened probably in the 1970s in the United States when the scientists were trying to work on manipulating the genes. And there was one professor, Professor Boyer. So he found some enzyme to do some gene slicing. And then they were all, scientists were all exalted, and newspaper reported that findings. And while they were discussing science, there was one 29-year-old boy, Swanson, who was working with a VC firm, who knew nothing of science, but he was scouting for opportunities to do something. And then he read this report, and then he called up professor. And naturally, as expected, the professor was not very keen to talk to this boy. After a lot of persistent calls, he said, okay, you can come over to my lab. It's in the University of California, San Francisco. I'll give you 10 minutes. I'm very busy. And this young boy went there. And the boy was interested in finding out whether he could use this scientific finding for some commercial purpose. This is something that the professor probably would not have thought of. And when this boy came up and started discussing this, it became very interesting. The 10-minute session went over 3 hours. And then they decided to form a company called Genentech. So that created history. Of course, there were a lot of ups and downs, a lot of scientific regulatory challenges, but finally, when they listed that company 4 years afterwards, it listed at around $35, and within minutes, it went up to about $90, a record rise in the Wall Street. Now, we are all familiar that there are such stories across in the developed countries, but I just want to tell you that it's not something alien to us. Right here in this very city, we could relate to something like this. When about 3 or 3.5 decades back, there was a young person, very ambitious person, who knew again nothing of science, walked into the office of Professor Ramani, who was the head of the biomedical wing and Sri Chitra Institute, because he had read in the newspaper that there was some discovery made in the institute. They had made some plastic bags which could store bloods. So this young man, I think he needs no introduction to this audience, Mr. Balagopal. He went and discussed, and he came out of the meeting believing that he was born to make blood bags. And soon he established the company which transformed the blood transfusion in the whole world. And several such stories. So the point is, it is possible, it is very much possible if science talks to business and we have the right ecosystem, the right ingredients. Now, coming with that introduction, I'll have the privilege of moderating this panel with such eminent people who have really made their mark, and I would open up, it will be a very freewheeling discussion. So I thought I would start with Professor Bipin Nair, who has been trained and he has worked in the United States and in the biotech area, and he came back and established one of the best biotech schools in the country. So what would be his views, insights on the research ecosystem in the country, and where we stand today and what we could do to move forward to the world level?
And share my thoughts in the midst of this very mixed but established audience. When we talk about research and development and that ecosystem, and specifically related to Kerala as it compares to other states in the country and other countries in the world, I feel personally that our biggest problem in Kerala, speaking from my 20 years of having tried to do that here in the state of Kerala, after having spent about an equal amount of time in the US, is that we need to change our mindset. Change in the sense going from how can we to yes we can. And why I say that is because when we look at research and development, and I'm talking about the medical, biological and related fields, there are experts on either side of me who have established things like that in the IT industry. But when you look at the medical science arena, biological sciences, we in Kerala seem to want to take a back seat compared to our neighbors in the south, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, or even Tamil Nadu, in the sense that we feel that we are not in a situation where we can do those things. But just to recapitulate what you mentioned about blood bags, a similar discovery from 35 years ago, when something like that in the medtech domain couldn't be thought of, came out of the Sri Chitra Institute, where scientists there put together a multidisciplinary team looking at heart valves, because rheumatic heart disease was a big problem then, is a big problem now, and India has the largest concentration of children who suffer from this. 6 out of every 1,000 children are born with that kind of a problem, and there is no solution because there is a defective heart valve. And that is when Sri Chitra, or scientists in Sri Chitra, put together a multidisciplinary team, put together a heart valve, and went to the extent of developing it that they could actually implant it in a patient in 1990. And this was something that was unheard of, because we take that stand that if it is something sophisticated, it has to come out of the labs in Europe or US, or we cannot do that. This team did that, developed that valve, implanted it in a patient, and today, 3.5 decades later, that patient is still fine. Sri Chitra has gone on from there, and today there are about 200,000 valves that are produced and going into clinical trials. In 2024, they hope to have something ready that in 2026 they could take over that. So my point is that we can, if we decide to implement something that seems improbable, but if you put our mind and heart to it, the technology is here, the development can be made, and that is the stand that we should take going forward. I can add to that later on, but I'd let the others. Thank you.
Rising star of Trivandrum. His company Acsia, even I didn't know just a couple of months back. And I just saw the website. The tagline says, technology that drives tomorrow. I think literally, because all the cars are fitted with his technology. So he has been exposed to all the automobile R&D practices across the world. So I was thinking if he could share his experience of how he chose to be an entrepreneur in the first place, and then why Kerala, and then share his experience.
Thank you, Balram, and thank you for this opportunity to share a bit of my story and to talk a little bit about what is happening in the automotive industry. To talk about my entrepreneurial journey, I think this goes back to the childhood. As a child, I was so fascinated about the electronic, whatever the gadgets at that moment is a valve radio, the only valve radio at my home. I was so fascinated how this works, or the glowing valves. Instead of listening to the programs, I was always curious to know about what is going on behind it. Probably seeing that interest, my parents decided to send me for electronics and later on for computer science studies, which was my passion for sure. Yeah. Soon after my college, I also tried. Those days it was not called as startups. Tried to set up my own small one-man software company in my hometown. That's the time I think the Technopark was coming up, and I was developing software for the local shops at that time. I'm talking about 98 and 2000, early 2000 period. Heard about a lot of stories happening in Technopark. Some of my friends at that time started working in Technopark. They got opportunity to go abroad and work for world-class companies. I also started hearing about the Apple stories and Microsoft stories, which is probably going to revolutionize the industry. And I decided, okay, it's time to get into that. And then that's how I came to Trivandrum, my hometown, Thrissur. And rest is like that. Yeah, of course, I got an opportunity to work a company here, and got opportunity to work in the world-class companies like Hitachi and Mitsubishi. Once you got the global exposure with world-class R&Ds going on, yes, your entrepreneurial things coming back, and 10 years before established Acsia Technologies. So in between, with my exposure to the companies like Mitsubishi, got deep knowledge about deep knowledge in building world-class electronic control units for the best cars in the world. I mean, Mitsubishi was a supplier to companies like Daimler, or Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, GM, and also. And in that stint, I got exposure to work for that car companies. Now, if you look at what is happening in the automotive industry, especially everybody is aware of the increase in the usage of electronics and software in the modern cars. I mean, if you look back 30 years back, probably that the ratio or the money you pay for when you buy a new car, you pay probably less than 10% for electronics, but now it is more than 60%. So that's the increase in electronics and software in a modern car. And how that disruption happened, of course, the companies in Japan or Germany, has been continuously innovating on an incremental manner. I mean, yes, in the earlier generations, there were 1 or 2 electronic control units, but now it has gone to a range like nearly 100 units. I mean, every functions you operate in a car is controlled by a computer, which is also called as electronic control unit. That's when probably I would call the iPhone moment happened in the automotive industry. I mean, everybody is aware what happened to the BlackBerry when iPhone was launched. I mean, BlackBerry, the CEOs and that founding team were reluctant to go to the touch. I mean, the touch-based screens when iPhone was launched. I mean, all of you know the story. So similar thing happened in automotive as well. Somebody decided to relook into the way cars are made. I mean, yes, there is a 125 years of tradition Daimler has. Then there is a Ford and Toyota has a long history. But somebody decided to think about how these new cars can be built. I mean, from a conventional fuel-based engine to the new energy vehicle. So Tesla is born. Probably everybody's, I mean, from a common man's perspective, it's a first generation's true electric car. But when it comes to into the innovations or the R&D has gone into that, it is, I would say Tesla is at least 10 years ahead of the rest of the cars in terms of the E/E architecture or in terms of the way the cars are made. So which actually created a huge disruption in the market, which created lots of opportunities. I mean, every car maker is now thinking about revisiting the E/E architecture, and they call the software-defined vehicle. That is the terminology. I mean, you buy a car, then you subscribe for the feature, then that feature gets activated. That's what Tesla did through the new innovative architecture. So every car maker is behind that, which is creating a lot of opportunities for companies like us. That's where we are working on. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So maybe I'll come back to you and ask how much of R&D and innovation is ingrained in your company so that you are competitive with obviously other people like you. Now, I remember about 10 or so years back, a delegation coming to our institute, trying to explore if they could collaborate with us. And it was led by a person, Dr. Ramdas, who was a laser expert, who was based in US. And along with him, there was Pius, who is at the helm of Vinvish Technologies. So in that discussion, I realized that this is a very different company, very strong in technology, very strong especially in optoelectronics, lasers, and very ambitious, very successful. And over a period of time, I have seen them grow, of course, very silently. So maybe we'll now let Vinvish open the secrets and tell us how this company has been growing and what is his take on this R&D ecosystem in the state.
Very good afternoon. First of all, thanks to the organizers for having me here. Thanks to the question, Mr. BALRAM, because we have been working with Mr. BALRAM from the last almost 15 years. Rightly said, we work very peacefully, calmly, and from the last 20 years, from 2006 onwards, we are here in Technopark, Trivandrum. Our head office is in USA. We have started our operations in USA in 1994. Our major capability is optics and electronics, optoelectronics, basically for free space communication. We very closely work with all big giants like NASA, SpaceX, Google, Facebook, ISRO. You name anybody, they are my client. I can very proudly say that. So every day we are doing research. It's a continuous process. This we have been doing from 2004 onwards in Trivandrum. Without research, you cannot exist, you cannot compete, you cannot survive, you cannot build a brand, and it's the basic requirement of existence in the business. We are also a DSIR approved R&D center from 2010 onwards. We do a lot of collaborative research, especially with the DST, BIRAC, DBT, ICMR, CSIR, almost all Sri Chitra, NIST, CSIR, all leading institutions. So we closely work with all space companies. So we don't sell a product, basically. We provide a solution to their problem. For example, I will give you the recent one. You know that recently Boeing and also SpaceX, sorry, not SpaceX, NASA, they sent a satellite to the moon. So they have to make sure that it is going to be a soft landing. That is a success of any mission. If you have a soft landing, it's very easy. So if you are going to have a soft landing, you need to measure the distance. Accordingly, you have to adjust your speed. That is a challenge. So we provided them a laser beam. They sent a beam, measured the distance, and they successfully landed. Just giving an example. So this is how we work with clients. We understand their requirements. On a specific requirement, we design the electronics. Also, we develop the embedded software. We also design the optics for that, and also the mechanical. And we manufacture everything here in Trivandrum, and we ship it to USA. And we do the entire end-to-end manufacturing and also the qualification, everything we do it here. The main advantage with Kerala is a knowledge economy. So when you do research, you need to have the complete ecosystem in place. You need to have very good talented employees. That is a secret behind any successful business or successful businessman. You need to have very talented, knowledgeable, capable employees. That is a major advantage of having your office in Trivandrum or in Kerala. It's a knowledge economy. Second is you need to have suppliers to meet your requirements. Then definitely you need to have the complete manufacturing ecosystem in place. This is what is needed. So when you're talking about R&D specifically, because we are talking about R&D, we did a lot of R&D, and I can very proudly say that whatever R&D we did, starting from 2013, we have bagged the Best Innovation Award in India for all the R&D projects. And the first one I wanted to tell you very categorically and specifically, we have developed a PDT laser, photodynamic therapy laser for treatment of cancer in 2010. Definitely we have bagged the Best Innovation Award in India. There were 2,100 companies in the competition. But even in 2024, we could not commercialize that product. That is a challenge. Because I have to do clinical trials, I have to conduct animal studies. You also have to take approval from DGCI. You have to take the approval for the drug. You also have to take the approval for the equipment. That is a challenge. This project is supported by DBT BIRAC. They funded this project. By realizing that we also have to conduct a clinical trial for this product. So I have been discussing with a lot of people, even to the minister, central government minister. When you are very much aware that when you are giving taxpayers money for R&D, and you know that I have to conduct clinical trials, you have to give me permission also for that in the very beginning. See, I have developed a product in 2013. In 2024, today also I am breaking my head to obtain clinical trial permission from Drug Control Authority of India. These are the challenges. Second is we also have to closely work with academia. Academia industry collaboration is very much required. Because if you don't closely work with academia, Dr. G.M. Nair is sitting in front of me. We launched a program almost 7 years before. PAIR program. He was the one who took the initiative. Partnering academic industrial research. It was a beautiful idea. We closely working with Dr. G.M. Nair. And I told him this is how we are going to work. I am going to sponsor a student and I am going to give my requirement to the student for the PhD. I am going to give my research project to the student. Portable Raman spectrometer for fake pill detection. That was the subject. CSIR was the educational partner. Shastra Bhavan, Kerala State Science and Technology, Shastra Bhavan was the collaborator or the mediator for the project. And we funded the project. Students spent 50% of their time with the industry, 50% in the institute. And believe me, in less than 2 years' time, she has completely, successfully completed the project and also received CSIR Best Innovation Award. She has completed her PhD in 3.5 years. So we just provided them a best example. This is how you have to do and conduct research, because concept to market is important, concept to product is not important. So when you do research, you will come up with a product, but that will not come to the market. So concept to market is important. Then only that will have social importance, commercial importance. Then only that will be a success. So rightly, many people said, my previous speakers, Srijitra, because of Srijitra, I can name minimum 3-4 institutions exist in Trivandrum. The best example is Dermopenpol. Rightly he said, the biggest blood bag manufacturing company is located in Trivandrum only because of R&D happened in Trivandrum. Agape, another best example. I am talking about very big companies. Another one is HLL. Then another one, rightly, my previous speaker said, TTK. So if you don't do R&D, you will not be able to withstand in the market. So you look into the biggest company today, Nvidia. $2.9 trillion is their worth today. Only through R&D, they are the biggest company in the world today. They make AI chips today. So only through R&D you can survive. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pius. A couple of months back, there was a report, and I was really surprised to see the numbers. It says the bioeconomy of the country is about $150 billion. And again, the report said about 45% of the contribution comes from the southern states, Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, and of course Kerala. So that is the size of this bio-led industry. And I think last month the central government also released a Bio 3E policy. So I thought it's good that in this occasion we could also see what is the highlights of this policy and how the Kerala state could benefit from this. So I think Dr. Sarika from Kerala Biotech Commission would be the best person to explain that to us.
Happy to see Professor T.M. Nair, who is my mentor and previous advisor to Kerala Biotechnology Commission here. So coming to the Bio E3, couple of last month or so, the government of India has released this policy, the Bio E3 policy, which just mean that biotechnology for economy, employment, and environment, which is exactly meant to have a big biomanufacturing cluster in India, mainly focusing on specific thematic areas in terms of high-value bio-based chemicals, then the functional foods, small proteins, there is focus for marine and space research, and again focusing on to precision therapeutics, etc. So mainly there should be this thing to employ. There is a focus on to job creation, skilling people or the youngsters towards the cutting edge areas in biotechnology, to saving the environment, like for environment conscious things. So all coming under this particular policy. And soon after this policy has been formulated and published, there has been call from Government of India, that is the BIRAC, has given the call, inviting proposals from the entire country to apply onto this particular program, so that this can be make alive. And while saying this, there is also focus on to creating enablers, like what said, like focusing on to artificial intelligence, the coming up technologies and all. So Kerala State, we have also applied for some of the programs through the new initiatives of the Kerala State, like government is coming up with 3 science parks in Kerala, like Kannur, Cochin and Trivandrum. We are planning to have 3 science parks in association with 3 universities in Kerala, like Kerala University, Cochin University of Science and Technology, and the Kannur University. So the main focus area for the Kannur Science Park is that of bioprocessing and bioprospecting. So with that in mind, we have also applied for a biomanufacturing facility. But for a state like Kerala, it's not feasible to have a pharmaceutical, big manufacturing companies, like pharmaceutical companies, which are prone to cause pollution and all. So we'll be focusing more on to utilizing our natural resources, mainly focusing on the nutraceuticals, the marine-based products, functional foods, etc. So this is about the Bio A3 policy. And thank you, sir.
So continuing on this thread on biotech and life sciences sector, I think all of us know, we are aware that Kerala has a very rich biodiversity, and we have a lot of strength in some sectors like maybe spices or marine, etc. So I would request Professor Bipin to give his insights on how probably the bioeconomy can be boosted. We can give a push to this sector.
So when we look at that aspect of R&D towards boosting, as Dr. Sarika said, the Bio 3E, which is economy, employment, and environment. Our biggest strength is our big repertoire with Ayurveda and Ayurvedic formulations that are established for hundreds of years. There are more than 4,500 formulations that have been tried and tested. But the Western world or allopathic medicine as such find it difficult to accept these as therapeutic formulations simply because there is no established mechanism of action. How does this formulation work? If you ask an Ayurvedic practitioner, this is what was given to me for my arthritis, for my diabetes and so on. The Ayurvedic practitioner will only say, you have this for 3 months and come back to me, your condition should be improved. But for that Ayurvedic formulation to be acceptable, you have to have a clear idea of what brings about that therapeutic effect. And to be able to use conventional technologies to merge that with Ayurveda, look at what we are beginning to look at as integrated medicine, and then try to take that forward and see how best we can converge on this. In fact, looking at technology, what is emerging now is this field of what is known as Ayurgenomics, where the idea of where Ayurvedic treatment is concerned, they look at the Prakriti, they look at the doshas, and then look at how this treatment should be carried out. But in essence, all of that is working at the same level, and if we can bring in the merger of technologies and an understanding of how these Ayurvedic formulations may be effective, then that is where we have a head start compared to the rest of the competition. And I think that is where the Indian sort of focus should be with respect to Kerala and developing R&D, because our problem also is that we have splendid ideas and we have the funds allocated for that, but never are things taken to completion, unlike other industries. So it's very difficult to bring in, as Dr. Sarika said, bring in a pharmaceutical industry to come to Kerala and establish a setup. But if we can provide this as the startup, because we've seen where opportunity presents itself, whether it was COVID or whether there are other viral infections that have come about, Kerala has taken the lead and been able to provide that kind of services. So also looking at the possibility, for example, another big problem is antimicrobial resistance. Every known antibiotic that is there in the market is not effective anymore. That is a problem, and that is where Kerala can take the lead. Kerala is the first state in the country to have implemented a ban on non-prescription antibiotics. You cannot anymore go to a pharmacy and ask for an antibiotic without a prescription, because that is the major problem in the country, in the world, that antibiotics are being used without any real concern, and that is resulting in organisms becoming resistant to these antibiotics. So these are areas where Kerala again is the first state to have presented an R&D budget. So can these be coordinated in a way that some of these premier areas can be focused on? And like the IT industry, like other, like the automotive industry, can the bio, the other area is again medtech, medical technology, diagnostics, devices. Those are areas where we still have some kind of a leeway to make some inroads into successful development. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll stay with you. I went through the website of Amrita School, and I saw that you have established world-class research facilities. So I was just curious to know if those facilities are something which the entrepreneurs or industry could avail, and whether what is your approach towards the industry-institute collaboration?
Thank you again. That's another point that is of concern, again, because not just in Kerala, but across the country, there is very little contribution from industry, and not to belittle industry in other sectors, but especially in the pharmaceutical, biotech, medical diagnostics sector. There is very little contribution from industry, where total industry contribution towards research in India, research and development in India may be about 35%. Compared to that, the US has about 70, South Korea has about 80, Israel has about 90% contribution from the industry. So industry in Kerala needs to step forward and see how we can support. And that kind of a collaborative, interdisciplinary approach to anything and everything in the life sciences domain may be helpful, because it's not that we do not have the quality, the integrity, and the way to move forward. But these are the bottlenecks, these are the constraints that are there. So unless we can sort that funding, which is an essential component of all this kind of development, we may find that we come to roadblocks that we cannot overcome.
Yeah, you touched about funding. So is there actually funding a real issue, or is it lack of ideas? What do you think?
Funding is indeed a real issue, I should say. But then KCST, as an agency to promote science and technology in the state of Kerala, has been funding, and last year we have celebrated our golden jubilee. So how much you can imagine the existence of KCST. So already have set a landscape, R&D landscape in Kerala through its presence. And indeed, it's one of the only one of the state councils which is in Kerala that has got about 8 research and development institutions under its umbrella, mainly catering to the diverse areas which Kerala is in need of. Like when starting from Trivandrum, we have the TBGRI, Jawaharlal Tropical Botanic Garden Research Institute, which is mainly concentrating on to research in tropical biodiversity, to the transportation, NATPAC, National Transportation Research Institution, concentrating on to transportation research. Taking to Kottayam, we have the Institute of Climate Change Studies and for climate change research, and a center for basic science research, which is the Srinivasa Ramanujan Institute for Basic Sciences, mainly concentrating onto the theoretical physics, chemistry, biology. And then in Thrissur, we have a center exclusively for forestry research, which is the Kerala Forest Research Institute. And in Calicut, we have 3 different institutions, like the Center for Water Resource Development and Management, which is mainly focusing on to water research, water-based research. And we another center at again at Calicut, like concentrating on to lower aquatic plants, which is the Malabar Botanic Garden and Institute of Plant Sciences. And again, there is a basic science which is focusing on to mathematics research and education. We have the Kerala School of Mathematics. So this is a kind of landscape that has been set by KCST. So along with that, there are different funding programs onto different aspects, like basic science to environment to technology. There are n number of almost about 50 schemes and programs have been running. So for the past years, funding has not been such a big problem, but the very recent years, the focus has been shifted from the funding. Earlier we had a 30 lakh, 40 lakh funding, major projects being funded, but the number of projects being funded these days are being less, maybe because of the, but I should say also there is lack of ideas, sir. So earlier we used to get a lot of ideas, that is applications coming up, which are worth funding, but right now that is also being reduced. So this is the current situation, and now the focus is being shifted, and we are mainly concentrating onto some of the thematic areas which is highly required for Kerala, based on the Kerala's need. For example, based on the need when Nipah outbreak came, we thought of having an institution, like Sir was in the front, of establishing an institute, which is the Institute of Advanced Virology, and which was initiated in 2000, all the papers and all were initiated in 2017, and by 2019 to 20, it got materialized. So now we have an established Institute of Advanced Virology with focus on all kinds of virus-based research. So that's it. Thank you.
Newspaper today, there was a report about the Kerala University setting up a translational center for regenerative medicine, bioprinting. And also the Kerala University has set up a translational research center. But my observation is that many of the scientists, they cry about lack of funding, but they have what we call that toothbrush syndrome. No? They want a lot of equipments for themselves, like their personal property, instead of sharing it. So Professor G.M. Nair has established a very beautiful, well-endowed cliff central laboratory infrastructure in the University of Kerala. So probably we should also have a strategy that every institution, every scientist should not compete for grants and try to have his own laboratory with very sophisticated equipments, which is very difficult to run. You may not have expertise. So sharing of resources, facilities, infrastructure within the institutions is very important. And so coming to, he touched about industries spending on R&D. So earlier we always had complaints that Indian products have poor quality and Indian industries were not willing to invest on R&D. I'm sure the times are changing. Many of the products coming from India are world class, and obviously quality and R&D is in the focus limelight of industrialists. So I just want to ask Jijimon and Pius, how do they view R&D? Like, is it real an expense, or is it something, the quality, is it an asset or a liability? How do they view it?
Okay, from our perspective, without R&D, we think we can't survive. So this becomes, I mean, what really happens when it comes to the automotive research? I mean, I'm talking mostly from the electronics and software-related technology, not generally about the manufacturing-related. I touched upon the new energy vehicle, and when it comes to the electric vehicles, the biggest concern for any buyer is the range, or we call the range anxiety. So what does electronics plays when it comes to the increase or reduce the range anxiety is like every kilo of the vehicle translates to certain extra mileage. Means when it comes to the electric vehicles, 1 kilo reduction means it's approximately $4 saving. So how do you bring down the weight of the vehicle? So now, if you look at the technologies we are working on, I mean, these technologies would probably come into the roads by 2030. Is like how do you make use of the automotive Ethernet for the entire communications, which was earlier happening through the copper lines? I mean, it is trying to reduce the overall weight of the vehicle. Trying to reduce the length of the wires or the weight of the copper, through which you increase the range. And of course, a lot of research is also happening on the battery. Battery is, so we work on the technologies. For example, earlier you had a physical line from a particular unit, a node to the other node to connect and transfer data reliably. Now, this is, a lot of research is happening how to use automotive Ethernet for the same reliable communications. So we work in that space. So I would say, and earlier, as you rightly said, earlier we were kind of like considered as probably not as a solution provider, but now even the global leaders, global automotive leaders, looking at India as the next biggest solution provider, not just as a resource provider. So that's the biggest change we see, and from our point of view, continuously investing in the R&D in terms of like identifying the better solutions. Even to talk about some of the recent R&D we did or innovations we did. I don't want to call it as an R&D. Everybody is aware of Gen AI and the impact it is making in the every aspects of the industry. So we have been working on the last 7 to 8 months on looking at making use of the power of Gen AI to simplify certain aspects in the software development. When it comes to the automotive, yes, the data product. I'm sure it's applicable for every industry, but specifically for automotive industry, we work for 5 years ahead before the car is launched, and the data protection require a lot of importance. So you can't make use of the public or you can't make use of the copilots, which is provided by say GitHub or any of that solution. So we invested heavily to build something specific for automotive, which is launched recently, and we have started piloting it, and even some of our customers are finding it exciting. So these are some of the, I would say, innovations going on. In terms of like how it finally translates to the common or to the buyer of the vehicle is like, yes, the better range, better safety, better security in the vehicle. This is what we are working on.
You also file patents.
In the software side, no, not yet. Probably, I think, yes, our journey so far has been very short. Like maybe in the days to come, we definitely will need to explore that opportunities. Yeah.
Pius.
Ambassador car, they were having 98% of the market share. That time, only 2% of the Indians suffered to have a car. Today, 40% of the Indians suffer to have a car, but Ambassador car is simply not available. So if you don't invest in R&D, you will not be able to sustain in the market in the long run. Short run, you can sustain. See, especially in our business, we do only R&D. Every product is a R&D for us. We invest a lot of money in R&D because we sell technology. We don't sell a product. We provide a solution to a problem. We know that we have faced a lot of challenges in R&D, especially in product development. Especially you being in Trivandrum, you have a lot of challenges. Especially when we have started our operations in 2004 in Trivandrum in Kerala. But today, see, I still remember in 2004, when we talk to our suppliers about quality, they simply don't care about quality. They always think that I don't want to pay, that's why I'm finding some mistakes. So we are forced to build the entire manufacturing system in-house to meet quality. Because when you're talking about our clients, first is quality, second is reliability, third is only the price. So I will give you a best example. We also closely work with a very big company basically for underwater communications. You know that intercontinental cables are running through, and when signal travels after certain kilometers, the signal will be very less. You have to strengthen the signal. You need to have boosters. So we deploy a LiDAR system under the sea. But the customer insists for 25 years of guarantee for the product. Then only they buy it. 25-year guarantee for the product. Something which is going under the sea. That was a challenge. And we took almost 4 years to qualify for this product. But today, that is the biggest account we are holding. Only 4 companies are there in the world. We were the 4th. So when you invest in R&D, definitely that is an asset. Even if you wanted to go to public, or if you are looking for an investor, they definitely look into. Rightly, Dr. BALRAM asked, how many IPs you have? Then only they invest money. If you have so many IPs, because they don't want legal fights in a later stage, claiming that this is my know-how, this is my technology. So people are always looking for technology. See, believe me, in 1994, we used to cater to telecom sector. Personally, we are not catering to telecom sector. The reason is that now it's kind of a dirty business. You have stiff competitions from China, and prices come down drastically, and there is no flesh in the business. So slowly, through R&D only, we move to space, aerospace, defense sectors, and also telecom, and also underwater, only through R&D. Our existence or the success behind our business is only through R&D. So we always strongly recommend and also strongly believe that definitely it is an asset. If you have to exist in the business, if you have to compete, if you have to survive, if you have to create a value for your brand, you definitely have to do thorough R&D, that too with limited time frame. That's very important. Typically, we come up with a product in 8 weeks' time. I'm talking about concept to product development. In 8 weeks, we do the electronics design, embedded software development, mechanical design, optics design. After that, we definitely come up with our electronics product, then the mechanical, then the optics, integrate. Then also we conduct all qualification test, deliver it as a product. Because you are left with only 365 days in a financial year. You can also make mistakes with your money only. So most of our final product, you know that in a typical product development process flow, definitely people will come up with a proof of concept, then prototyping, then trial runs, then you go for field trials, then only you go for a final product. But most of our cases, you can say 99% of our cases, our first proto itself is the final product. Because I can make mistakes with my money only. Customer is not going to pay for it. So what is important is you need to have systems in place, you need to have people in place, you need to have knowledge in place, and you need to have the complete ecosystem in place so that you can go to any clients, you can talk to them, you can sell technology, and you can exist in the market. So R&D is the vital, important factor for the existence of any technology company. Thank you.
How we stand with regard to time? Okay, so before we open up for the Q&A, your final, I think we are all like complacent now that, okay, the state is doing well, but that's not enough. From here, how do we go to world class? So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, as part of this session, I was doing a bit of study and to understand that Kerala as a state is spending close to 0.3% of its GSDP from the funding point of view. And when we talk about the world class, I think probably the most developed countries coming to our mind, where they are spending in the range of minimum 3 to 6% or 3. I mean, if Sir was mentioning about Israel, who is spending a lot of in the R&D, I think the spend is on 6%. 6% of the GDP, not, so I am talking about, and India, on an average, it is only spending 0.6. So that's where we are. So if we really need to think about the world class and become a world class, then definitely not just the industry, but from a state level, we need to start spending more.
It's a good question. I strongly believe that we can meet the requirements of the clients irrespective of the field. Yes, we need to have lot of manufacturing ecosystems in place to reach that level. But I want to give you some real-time examples. Recently, one Australian delegation came to Kerala. And fortunately, government of Kerala decided to send this delegation to my facility also. So one delegate after the visit contacted me. He is having another company. He said, I have a product, so I am presently manufacturing in China. It's a very cost-sensitive product, but the volume is very high. He's talking about minimum 15 million pieces per annum. So he gave me a target of $6 per piece. That was a challenge. Then he said, I can give you this business provided you will be able to give me $4 per piece. Presently I am giving $6. I can give you this business provided you will be able to give me $4 per piece. So supply chain management is very important here. When you're talking about economies of scale, especially the pricing. So I contacted all the entire supply chain. Initially said it is impossible. It's not possible. Then I really found that these people, they were not ready to believe me, these kind of volumes. That was the reason. But I started talking to their seniors. And finally, all these people realized that this is a real requirement. This is an instant requirement. So all these people came and met. Believe me, fortunately, we were just near to the target price. Finally, I gave them $3.96 per piece. Then they said, okay, you make 20 pieces. I made 20 pieces. Then they said, okay, make 1,000 pieces. Then I made 1,000 pieces. So what I wanted to communicate to you is that we can even compete with China today for manufacturing. Possible. Yes, when you're talking about Kerala, especially in electronics, optics, manufacturing area, so many challenges are there. Especially when you're talking about the semiconductor industry. You know that Taiwan and China, they have almost 60% of the world market. If you can attract, if government of Kerala can attract one semiconductor manufacturer to Kerala, that is a solution to 80% of the problem. Second, only in Kerala we don't have a PCB manufacturing plant in Kerala. So we have to go to the nearby states or nearby countries to manufacture the PCBs. We don't even have a stencil manufacturing plant in Trivandrum or in Kerala. You have to go to nearby states. We don't even make one nut or bolt in Kerala. We have to go to Coimbatore. So what I wanted to communicate to you is that if you have to compete with the world, it is possible. It's a knowledge economy. Definitely it is possible. But we need to have the manufacturing ecosystems in place. For that, government have to take initiatives and they have to closely work. So I took a printout. See, this is the incentives of the government of Kerala. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. Government of Kerala is giving a lot of incentives, especially to promote the micro, small, medium and large enterprises, and also to promote R&D. But to meet international standards, definitely we need to have a lot of manufacturing ecosystems in place. If you have that, definitely we can compete with the world. Definitely possible. See, you know why? I know the best example I can tell you. You know that especially from Technopark, people travel to Europe, USA, any countries for business. But you have enough business 3 kilometers away from this place. BSSC, LPSC, IASU. ISRO have 3 units here. If my knowledge is correct, a minimum they may outsource maybe 5,000, 10,000 crore worth of business they outsource. Not even 1% of this business is executed in Kerala. It's all going to the nearby states. Why? Because we don't have the necessary infrastructure here. Nothing more than that. So, see, VSSC is sending launch vehicles to Moon and also to many other places. Even to the sun. Recently, Aditya. Now they are planning to send people also. Human space missions are going to be there. How they are achieving? They are here in Kerala only, isn't it? BrahMos, they are here in Kerala only. BrahMos missiles. It's all manufactured in Kerala. So it is definitely possible. Blood bags are manufactured in Kerala. They are I believe they are the world's biggest. There is another company, Den Care in Todupuzha. They are again the world's biggest. So many companies are there in Kerala meeting world standards. So nothing like impossible. The only thing what is lacking is we need to have the complete manufacturing ecosystem in place so that you can save a lot of your time, energy, and also you will be able to execute things in a short span of time. Thank you.
I would like to highlight what first Bipin Nair sir said. There is a lack of mindset towards, if for a subject like biotechnology, I have been in constant interaction with the students. In fact, they have a severe lack of awareness towards a venue called entrepreneurship. So probably because of their bringing up or something, they are not ready to take risk or something. But such avenue of entrepreneurship and also the research and projects that are doing that just for the sake of a degree that they are doing and not planning to take it to a next level or a translatable products is not coming, projects are not coming up from their side. So it's high time that such a kind of capacity building mechanisms should be in place. We have just, Bipin sir is also a part of it. We have just initiated with the support of the DBT capacity building program, especially on biotechnology, considering all these like a skill Vigyan program on to the industry tailor-made courses, giving a 3 months training to the students of biotechnology on to what is to be done in an industry level setup. And some of the courses are being run in Amrita School of Biotechnology also. So one of the things we have to concentrate more on is on to capacity building initiatives to the youngsters or to the students, and to let them know the avenues they have got globally in terms of a particular subject. And then obviously what sir said, the infrastructure, like the manufacturing facility, even a good, I mean, big apart from the thermopenpol or agapi, a good bio-based industry is lacking in Kerala. So if we have provide such things in place, obviously we can also raise, we have no dearth of knowledge, or our budget is also, as sir said, morely focusing on to making the state a knowledge-based economy, because we consider knowledge to be a key driver for economic development. Okay, thank you.
No, I just wanted to quickly add that I'm just awestruck by what these two gentlemen have done in the state of Kerala as far as being internationally competitive is concerned. But from the bio sector, the world knows that we are capable of much more than what we have demonstrated just from the experience of the corona pandemic. We provided vaccines that we were able to vaccinate our entire population and then donate to 70 countries across the globe free of charge. That kind of a, we must do it, we can do it, we will do it, that make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, that kind of an attitude, that mindset change that I spoke about, that is what needs to happen. And then there are, not to the level that both these companies have achieved, but there are smaller companies in the bio arena that have reached that kind of stature, and they are not based in Trivandrum or in Cochin, but in a small village next to, in Kollam district, Karunagapalli, where I come from, where our institute is based. A company called Origin Diagnostics that competes with the best in the world, providing reagents, consumables, things like that, and are now outclassing those at 1/3 the cost. And all of that being produced in that small village in Kerala. That can be done. Heart valves and other things, cardiac instrumentation, diagnostics, devices that came out of the experience that the CEO of that company, Dr. Vijay Kumar, who was a member of that team that developed that heart valve, has set up such a facility, not in Trivandrum, not in Cochin, not in a big city, but in a small place called Cherthala. And that is outclassing competition in the medtech sector anywhere in the world. Because those are areas that big companies do not dare to go into because of other constraints. So identifying areas that we can take the lead and bring into the state of Kerala those kinds of incentives that will help us to take the lead. That is what needs to happen. Thank you.
A lot of myths broken and a lot of confidence gained. Now we'll open up for the Q&A. Please feel free to ask and interact. Such ideas will not be free, will not be given on a platter.
I understand. I think that's where the mindset has to change, right? If something like TiE has to promote that, that's where we have to start. So one of the questions that you asked, okay, what needs to be changed? Probably that's how we start.
I just remembered, I was actually driving my son to school, and in the FM there was, I think KSIDC, they were having a program, Young Minds, come and give your ideas. Then I said, okay, it's a good opportunity, why don't you go and give? Then he said, why I should give my idea to them?
It's going to change in a decade or so, because we can see many of them going abroad, probably US or Europe, or maybe the Middle East. So that transition is going to change, because we can develop things in our state or in our country as well, but rather than that they're going outside. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, Dr. Sarika spoke about a grassroots program, training our students, just those who have just finished their bachelor's program, BSc, MSc, right up to technicians and faculty who are training our student community. We have started these skill development programs that are supported by the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. That's one aspect. But more importantly, it used to be, maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when you had a master's degree from India, you have to go to the US, you have to go to Europe and get some training there and then just stay there, don't come back. That is the attitude. That attitude has to change, and it is changing, because today, all across the country, there are enough institutions. The count is about 120 institutions that are supported by the government under the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. All of these are well equipped, and the facilities in the US or Europe. That is a day of the past. That kind of facility is available here. And more so, the joke, at least in the bio domain, is that all the labs and facilities that run in Europe and US are because there are smart Indians who are running that. So, more and more, even those institutions, academic institutions in the US and Europe, are realizing that India has woken up, and those kinds of facilities, those kinds of incentives are available here, and it is becoming difficult for them to attract the Indian community, student community. So recently I saw some agency that is providing all the facilities for you to go to the US or Europe or Ireland or Finland or other places, and you pay what? 15 lakhs or $15,000, 30,000 pounds for a master's degree. I can give that master's degree in biotechnology in Amrita University in that small village in Kollam, which is probably better than any of those institutions that are awarding that master's degree. And just for proof of that, the last 12 PhD students who graduated from the Amrita School of Biotechnology, one of them is a postdoc at Cambridge, one is a postdoc at Harvard, one is a postdoc at Stanford, one is a postdoc in Denmark, one is a postdoc in Sweden, there are 3 postdocs in the US. And all of them got those positions, giving their interviews sitting in a small village in Vallikav. So, we are not lacking in quality. That mindset has to change, that awareness has to come about, that you don't have to travel. Getting a free air ticket, that is what the agency gives. 50,000 rupee free air ticket to go to America or Australia. And to get what? A 1-year master's degree after paying 15 lakhs. Not worth it. That mindset has to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deepu. My take on this question is, according to my opinion, when you're talking about a startup, anybody can make a product. Challenge is you have to sell it. First of all, before you think of any technology, any product, you have to do a market research and find out, is it sellable? I can make thousands of products in a year, but is it sellable? Is it market viable? That's very important. So you need to have mentors. Mentoring is very important, not after the product development, in the initial stage itself. Before the marriage, people provide counseling to make sure that they are going to have a healthy marriage life. Before you come up with a product, you need to have mentors from different sectors, that is including experts from marketing, like business development, product development, all these sectors you need to have. I have seen so many people struggling with their product because they are unable to sell the product. Only after developing the product, they realize that this is not sellable. And in addition to that, when you're talking about most of the startups, if you look into their product development life cycle, typically it is 2 to 3 years, that can go up to 5 to 6 years also for certain products. By this time, technology changes very fast. You will not be able to withstand in the market with your old technology. So when you're talking about any startup, they don't have resources, they don't have funds, they don't have mentors, they only have ideas. So according to my opinion, all these startups have to start functioning from engineering colleges. For example, if you go to an engineering college, you can see minimum 150 faculty there. Minimum, I'm talking about. MTechs, PhDs, with a very good knowledge, maybe theoretical knowledge. Then all these colleges, they have very good infrastructure in place. So you don't need infrastructure. And engineering students, they are getting an opportunity to work on live projects, real-time projects. Instead of going to a DTP center and providing 3,000 rupees for a project and getting a project, they can work on these real-time projects. So if you do all these together, it can be a success. I can give you so many examples, whatever I said. So many examples I can give you. And in addition to that, we are talking about the funds. According to my opinion, we have also, in association with the Kerala State Technology and KCST and Abdul Kalam University, Kerala Technical University, we launched a program called Idea is Money. And you know that close to 170 engineering colleges are there in Kerala. Unfortunately, we have not even received a good idea. So one gentleman, he was asking about idea. Okay, idea is money. So people have to come up with a new technology with sellable products. If you have a good idea, definitely enough funds are available. According to my opinion, enough research funds are available if you go to ICMR or DST, BIRAC or CSIR, any institutions. And I strongly believe, and you can also discuss with Dr. BALRAM, because they do a lot of collaborative R&D. And all these people, they are getting enough funds because they know that these are very viable projects Definitely these are going to come to the market. There will be a transfer of technology and these products are viable. It is a need of the hour. This is my perception. Not necessarily whatever I said is correct. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, as you know, the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment is also attached to that. So when we propose our projects to the state, government, the planning board also, we have to highlight which sustainable development goal is being catered to while we propose this particular project. So everywhere we give funding as well as we ourselves proposing a project, we should give an assurance that it is not harming the environment. So it is given due consideration while we fund projects. All the places, yeah.
I'm Rohit Philip from Kerala Medical Technology Consortium. Very engaging discussion, and just for the benefit of the entrepreneurs and other industry folks in the room, it was very convincing. R&D has come out as something that is very essential for a business looking for long-term growth and competitive edge. So now I am a startup sitting here, or I am a small business sitting here. What are the first few steps I can take to ensure that I am R&D proofing myself against the rest of the industry? Do I have to allocate huge amounts of funds to kind of set up that R&D capability? Are there any other ways that I can go about building my R&D capability?
Into any new area, you have to do a thorough analysis of the patents. Unfortunately, that's an area which is not much talked about and not much awareness is there, because any new technology emerging is very fiercely protected by patents. So unless you have freedom to operate, unless you have that, you can't, even if you do some research, you may not be able to progress well. So do a thorough patent landscaping and see where the opportunity lies, where there are areas where you can actually move forward. And this gentleman asking about ideas, I think you should also look at the trends in the technology which is coming up. And then even if you look at the patent literature, you will get a lot of technological insights. And that should help you find some ideas. I think
Hello.
Divya is...
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to make one suggestion based on the whole discussion. It was very engaging and highly knowledgeable sessions. But at the same time, we were discussing on the one side, we were worried about the brain drain, and the other side, before that I'll introduce myself. I am Dr. Smita. I am a college lecturer by profession, and I left it right now. I'm from Thrissur. So one side we are saying about brain drain, and the other side we are saying worried about the lack of mindset and lack of ideas. So these are two contrary things, right? So actually, Pius have already answered this in his talk. Right? One is we don't have concept to markets. What is happening in the industry, this young generation is not know. And once he given a topic to a student, she could perform it, and she could win the award. And the other thing is, he also mentioned that we don't have, everybody know that Kerala model of development, one big missing factor is we don't have a manufacturing sector. Even to get a nut and bolt, we have to go to Coimbatore. We have to travel 10 hours from here. So these are the possible missing links. And Jijimon sir already mentioned that we don't have the R&D. Like Israel have 6% of the GDP in the R&D. India is investing only 0.6, and Kerala is only again 0.3. Of course, none of us can go ahead and increase the percentage of R&D spending. But what we can do, and again, Pius sir have mentioned that I have funded the CSIR project. So more such, actually it is not a lack of ideas. Like earlier said, idea is money, some project have missed.
We have time constraints, so if you come to the point.
Some project have missed, but at the same time, if you ask like 10 people, 10 kids, students from engineering college or medical college, they'll have enough ideas. But the point is, all of us have that age category of kids at home. We know that they are into social media. Maybe we are not pitching them in the right way. So the point what I am making is, one is we can increase the public-private partnership, and we have to look into that area, and only corporates can do that. I mean, we cannot expect the government to interfere much more in the coming era, in anywhere.
Okay, so I think it's time to wind up this discussion. So thank you, panelists, and
It would be difficult for me because to explain the things I would click them. I thought I would make some points. Being an academician, an administrator and a facilitator recently by the establishment of the Central Laboratory for Instrumentation and Facilitation. Now, we have listened to all of you speaking about the research R&D ecosystem. It's very good in Kerala. We have very good R&D ecosystem. But how much of this R&D process lead to a product which would reach the society? That's the question being asked. Now, when you look at the academic system, academics, everything is fine. People do research. Probably that would end up in getting a PhD degree. There may be publications coming up, but then there is absolutely no point where you are being asked to make a product. So that means everywhere when you have to get a job, what people look into, how many first author publications you have, how many patents you have. You don't ask whether the patents have been transferred for technology transfer is done. So maybe that system is to be changed. So the first thing is that there should be an awareness among the researchers that whatever they do, they're using the public money, not the industry money, but the public money. And this public money is to be utilized in such a way that something that is needed to the society should go. That's what is called as the scientific social responsibility. I'm sorry, because like what Mr. Pius has said about the PAIR program, see, industries are reluctant to invest in R&D system here. The main reason being that they are not sure of the product that is coming up. They can also insist, they cannot insist onto a researcher that they should give some product to the industry. The case of PAIR program was excellent because I'm sure he's very happy as a product. It was a win-win situation for the funding agent, the agency, KSGST, the industry, and the academic institution, the CSIR niche. Within 3 years, the girl, win-win situation in the sense that they got their product being developed through an intellectual capability of the CSIR Institute. They put their entire energy into fabricating a device within about 2.5 years' time. And 3 years, she got the PhD. So what happened was that, and there is an IPR, being taken care of, that whatever comes in through IPR will be shared equally by that. The advantage of this person is that the industry was confident that they are investing for a process of interest to the industry, not just onto anything that's normally being done, especially in the biotech sector. That's very important. In even other science sectors also, technology is different. But then science sector, this is what is happening. So what is needed is that if the industry has to come up in investing it should be on a program which is of interest to them, not just an academic interest to them. And the faculty or the students are reluctant to take up an industrial funding, mainly because they are answerable to the industry. For a funding agency, a national or a state funding agency, no questions being asked. You need to give an SCUC and a technical report, nothing beyond that. Maybe that if you make some publications, well and good. So what is the need of the hour is that, like what if it is TiEcon Kerala. I also represent an organization called as Kerala Academy of Sciences, So we also go for making connect between the industry, institutions, and the other places. So if we can have a kind of respect being developed between the industry, the institutions, because none of the institutions would demand for making the student to make a product, isn't it? And this is what is lacking. So if the process can be redefined, and if the industry is being roped into the setup by creating a confidence in them that the product, like the handheld Raman spectroscope being developed. So an industrial problem is translated. No translation is taking place in any of the research arenas in the state of Kerala. Everything will end up in a publication or a patent. And patent is not just being transferred for technology development. So I think there has to be an awareness about the translational research which could make a product from everything that you do. Otherwise, what will happen is that you have what is called as a valley of death. That all the research findings are dumped. The student gets out of the research program after he or she gets a PhD. Maybe that you have 2 or 3 publications that would suffice the person to get a job. So this system is to be developed. If the R&D, world-class R&D is to be developed, it is very essential that we need to have an industrial type to be done, a confidence developed between the industry and the academic system, and the academic system should be answerable to the industry for that. And I am sure that there are several industries coming up. We have several programs, other programs also being developed. The last point I want to say is about the brain drain. We speak about brain gain, See, like what Dr. Bipin said about many of his students getting into other places for postdoctoral fellowship. Will you give them the right incentive which they are getting over there when they come back? It's not there. We have a K-Bio of what it's called biotechnology re-entry program. We have Ramanujam Fellowship, Ramalingaswamy Fellowship. It's given only for 5 years and just a supporting system, but that's nothing comparable to what they are getting there. So when we did a survey on this, what is called as student exodus in Kerala, we found that students are reluctant to come because they can make their living even otherwise, See, just going to a petrol bunk or to a food joint, they can walk there and get money for hourly basis, and that would be enough for them to sustain. So they say that when I come back to Kerala, come back to the country, there are several institutions, several places. Will they be taken in without any kind of hitch? It doesn't happen. So that's what they're going to. These are the points raised by many of those people who have gone up. Like, I don't know whether these 8 or 10 people who have gone from Amrita, will you be able to accommodate them when they come back with the right incentive which they are getting over there? It is not. I know, KCST, that's very simple. I know, I was with KCST, we start. Yeah, just the one person we have. Nobody is. And that after 5 years, what? 5 years what? There's absolutely no incentive available. So I think if you have to really think about brain gain, you need to specifically open up opportunities to them. This is just an observation. But that is for the IT industry, it is very easy, but not for the biotechnology, I am sure biotechnology is very difficult. These are some of the points I just want. Thank you. Sorry for encroaching.
We are running short of time, so we'll quickly finish. I don't want to take too much of time, otherwise Divya will be very unhappy with me. It was a wonderful, engaging session. I think as a doctor, you always get to write all the notes and then present it at the end. I think it was done on purpose. So I'll take it that way. Anyway, coming on to this engaging section, I think 6 points, which I'll say as take home, because that is what we really need to take home. So wonderful questions asked by BALRAM sir. I should basically thank you for that. And before that, actually, Roy sir as well as Jacob, a wonderful presentation of as to what the history of TiE as well as what TiE is planning to do, 2030 vision and all. And coming on to the first point, which was made by Professor Bipin Nair, was the mindset. I think we had a lot of discussion on mindset, and GM Nair sir also mentioned about the mindset that needs to be changed. So that is extremely important, that we really need to think about ourselves, what facilities we have, and the mindset needs to change. The confidence really needs to come in terms of what Kerala can do, and then only we can think about, okay, we will start manufacturing and other things. I think that mindset change was extremely important. That point was brought out very well, and it was substantiated by all the other the panel members. And the second thing is about R&D. I think you hit the nail on the head, Pius sir, with that point about research and development. You cannot really survive in the industry without research and development. It has to be quality research. And that is what was really very, very important. And he talked about basically 2 or 3 things which I feel was extremely important, which was the knowledge economy that is present in Kerala, the extensive collaboration that needs to be there, the talented employees that we have in Kerala, and as well as the supplies and manufacturing. I think the manufacturing aspect is extremely important. We really need to look into that. And the quality of manufacturing needs to be there. That was the third and the fourth point, which is manufacturing infrastructure and the quality of manufacturing infrastructure. About Mr. Jijimon, who was talking about the industry in transportation as well as the vehicle manufacturing. He also mentioned about increasing spending. I think that is extremely important. I think one of the members were mentioning about the percentage of GDP that needs to be spent. That clearly we need to increase spending, maybe not in terms of percentage of GDP, at least not look at Western countries, but look at what we can provide. See, the thing is, we really need not really ape other countries. That is very, very important. We need to really look at what we have and then only look at spending. We need not spend 7-8% and all, probably double the spending, maybe triple the spending in the next 2 or 3 years or maybe 5 years. So that is very important. And lastly, I think local talent. That is what I think was the main gist of the whole talk. We are looking at Japan, we are looking at the US, we are looking at Germany and other countries, but really the talent is here. We really need to look inside. We need to understand ourselves and I think look inside. So let us look inside and everything is here. Let us look at that aspect and take it from there. I think that would be a message that I would like to give to TiEcon for the conference. So I take this opportunity to thank you all for coming up for this session. I think BALRAM sir, you had basically wonderfully conducted the session. Jijimon, it was wonderful. Professor Bipin, Pius sir, I think Dr. Sarika also brought about very important points about the BioE3 project as well as. I was surprised to know the number of institutions. It was wonderful that you by-hearted all these institutions, were able to name them. I was like, I thought doctors were good at it, but you beaten most of us. So it was really wonderful that you're able from top to bottom, you have to name all the institutions. So wonderful exposition of that. Thank you all, and thank you TiEcon for TiE Kerala for organizing this meeting. And I invite you all for high tea, is it? Yes? Yeah. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
So all can join for a group photo before we going for the high tea. Yeah.